So I would like to share my impressions of teaching digital humanities, which I gathered during the last winter semester. As a research and teaching assistant, I had the opportunity to conduct 30 hours of classes for a small group of 7 students. And today I will show you the didactic method that I chose and present the outcomes of our classes. But first, I would like to provide a brief description of my students and their program of study. I believe this is important because I wanted to tailor my didactic method to the students' interests, strengths, weaknesses, and of course their expectations. And this will also give you a little insight into the Polish higher education system. The course on digital humanities was held for the first time at the Faculty of Polish Studies at the Jagiellonian University in Kraków, Poland. And it was intended for master's students of Polish philology with an emphasis on textual scholarship. The course was divided into 30 hours of lectures and 30 hours of practical classes. And the aim of the lectures was to show students the diversity and theory of digital humanities. The lectures were coordinated by my more experienced colleague, Professor Magdalena Komorowska, and my task was to show the students how digital scholarly editions are being established. It was possible thanks to the Digital Humanities Lab. It's the university flagship project where I am employed. I would like to clearly emphasize that my classes were optional. Out of over 40 students, only 7 chose it, and at the time, the rest could study subjects like marketing in modern publishing houses, book design, and color management, or social media and internet aesthetics. This is because at the beginning of their studies, each student had the opportunity to choose one of 4 specialization paths. For example, if you chose the scholarly editing path, you must study digital humanities. If not, you can alternatively take this as an optional subject. Year by year, we observe that our students prefer vocational specializations such as book design or publishing management. After obtaining a master's degree, they quickly find their first employment in the media industry. Unfortunately, I'm sad to say that courses related to academia like mine are not attractive to them. They consider these subjects a waste of time and something that won't be applicable in their future careers. On the other hand, our students cannot code, even though they would like to. They don't know any programming languages and have little knowledge about creating websites or applications. Essentially, they are still Polish philologists with specialized knowledge and skills in the book industry. So, in this situation, I decided to introduce my students to project-based learning. My wish was to give them an opportunity to create something useful and reusable that wouldn't be expensive. But I still had to keep in mind their technical limitations, which are also my limitations since I am a philologist and not a computer expert. In that case, I was looking for open source tools suitable for non-IT specialists. I assumed that one way or another, preparing a digital edition can be considered a great chance to improve teamwork skills. So I was hoping we could achieve something tangible that young people could add to their portfolio. A year before, all my students were working in small groups on a traditional print-oriented scholarly edition of a 17th century text about a missionary work of the Spanish Franciscan monk Luis Sotelo in Japan. As a result of his work, Japanese envoys visited the Pope of the Catholic Church, Paul V. Our students completed that edition to pass a mandatory course on textual studies. They prepared both a diplomatic and semi-diplomatic transcription with annotations. However, after that, the material wasn't published. A great deal of work was done, but no one except students and their professors knew about it. I was sure there was no point in doing something just for a good grade. So I decided to reuse the work they had already done and show them that even with a small budget and limited IT skills, we can still accomplish something valuable. Their first task was to create a text recognition model in the Transcribus application. Even though we already had all transcriptions needed to create the digital edition. By doing this, the students were supposed to gain new experience and easily learn a program that they could use for other projects. The original source of the text was printed by Franciszek Cesare's printing house in Kraków. The book was set in a black letter typeface called Schwabacher, which is a mix of German Gothic textualis and Italian Humanist typefaces. Schwabacher was very popular in Poland in the 17th century. Because of this, many editors of Old Polish literature still have to manually rewrite old prints to prepare their scholarly editions. As a teacher, I showed my students how to use Transcribus properly. They learned how to manage multiple collections and how to build document layouts. Then we embarked on a group project. Each student was assigned a portion of the diplomatic transcription to paste and add it to the ground truth level. In summary, we prepared together 62 pages of ground truth transcription connected to the images with regions and baselines. This material was used to develop an AI text recognition model, which ultimately achieved 1% character error rate. It was a great result, so we decided to make our model public and share it with the community of scholars. Our model was the first Polish model available in Transcribus after multi-language Transcribus print and general model Polish M2. Needless to say, my students were truly proud of this project. It took us about half a semester to deal with the Transcribus. We spent the second part of classes learning some basics of TEI. After a theoretical introduction, so what XML and TEI actually are, why we need to use this language, and what a typical TEI file looks like, my group had another task to solve: TEI encoding. I had prepared a simple template file and a set of tagging rules, which my students had to follow in order to create Scipione Amati's Scholarly Digital Edition. All the transcriptions with annotations had been created in docx files. Because we wanted to practice using basic XML tags and attributes, we converted those files manually in Visual Studio Code and didn't use any automatic transformations from Word to TEI. As an endpoint, we gathered a bundle of TEI files in our GitHub repository, which I later merged into one big file. It was also a great opportunity to start working in a Git environment. None of my students had worked in Git before. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough time to transform the TEI files into a digital scholarly edition during our classes. At our last meeting, I showed the TEI publisher tool, and to be honest, I could only explain how it works and what results we can expect. Each student installed the TEI publisher application on their computer and then loaded the TEI files into the playground section to try out the available ODDs. Because I was very keen to publish our digital edition, I did the rest by myself. So I wanted to see if it was possible to create a simple digital project even without advanced IT skills. I customized the available ODDs, page and templates, and style sheets instead of creating my own files. Then I exported the application, rented a cheap VPS and a domain, which I connected to the server through Cloudflare. And finally, I launched the application with Docker Compose. It was a time-consuming process. As you can see, it isn't perfect, but it works, and I think sometimes that's enough. At the end of our course, I asked my students for their opinions. Generally, they were surprised that they managed to achieve so much in such a short time. They also noted that both classes and lectures turned out to be unexpectedly practical. They learned something new and uncommon that they can apply in their future careers. I am also very inspired by this course, so in the future, I would like to further develop my project of DEI students STEs. Thank you.